Hello and welcome. Today we talk about the past simple. It is the first tense in the past series. Of course, we have four past tenses: past simple, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. So let's start with the past simple. So, first of all, when do we use the past simple? The past simple is used to describe a completed action in the past. The time is usually mentioned or implied. So the action is completed, it's finished. I bought a mobile phone yesterday. So the action is finished. It's not continuing or anything. To describe completed actions that happened one after the other in the past. I walked up to the till, paid, and then left the shop. So here we can notice that we have three verbs: walked up, paid, and left. And we described them one after another. I walked up to the till, paid, and then left the shop. To describe past habits or repeated actions in the past, often used with adverbs of frequency. When I was younger, I often went jogging in the park. So here the adverb of frequency is often. When I was younger, here I have the verb to be and we use was with the subject I. When I was younger, I often went. The past of go. To describe permanent situations in the past, Jake lived with his grandparents when he was young. So, like the present simple, permanent situations, but these permanent situations are in the past, and that's why we use the past simple. And finally, the past simple is used to describe an action in the past that interrupted a longer action in progress. Now, usually the longer action we are talking about, we use the past continuous. I was sleeping. So this is the long action. When the phone rang, this is the shorter action which we use the past simple with. I was sleeping when the phone rang. Okay, so how do we use it? We use the second form of the verb with all subjects. So, as we know, all verbs have three different forms. We use the second form, the past form. I played, he slept, she studied, we came. There are regular and irregular verbs. When we talk about the regular verbs, we usually add ed or only d if the word ends with e, or ied if the word ends with y. Like, for example, play, played, hate, hated, and study, studied. Now, here, the y, before the y, we have a, so it's okay to use ed. But with study, there aren't one of the five letters A, E, I, O, U. So we replaced the Y with I, E, D. So play, hated, studied. And this is easy. Now the problem is usually with the irregular verbs. When we talk about the irregular verbs, we need to memorize them. So you can find a full list of the irregular verbs at the end of any one of the books, the level books, which we are explaining, the traveler. Or if you want, you can divide them into groups. For example, here we have two different groups of verbs, which makes it easier to memorize. For example, here we form are the same: bit, 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 burst, 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 cost, 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 and so on. This is another group here where we have you in the past participle form. So A is in the past and U in the perfect. Begin, began, begun, drink, drank, drunk, and so on. So you have one or two or many different methods to memorize them. So you can choose to memorize them normally, or you can divide them into groups if you think that this is easier for you. Now, let's talk about the verb to be. The verb to be is used with nouns and adjectives as usual. Now, in the past, the am and is becomes was, and are becomes were. So, Mike was tired. In the present, we say Mike is tired. In the past, Mike was tired. She was a nurse for 2 years. So, this was in the past. She's not a nurse anymore. Now, how to form the negative? For verbs, we put did not or didn't before the verb, and the verb must go back to the present simple. He didn't come here. So originally, this sentence is he came here. So we made it negative, we added didn't, and came went back to the present form, come. He didn't come here. I didn't work last week. Work is a regular verb. So we should say, I worked last week. In the negative, I did not work last week. For verb to be, we simply add not after was or were. She wasn't happy about her party. They weren't good neighbors. So here we added wasn't, and here we added were not. So just add not before the verb to be. After the verb to be, sorry. How to form questions? We use the auxiliary verb to ask yes or no questions. For example, here. Were you here yesterday? You can say yes. Yes, I was. If this is the longer answer, both of them are true. Did she call you last night? No. No, she didn't. We use did with WH questions as the verb goes back to simple present. So here, when we have WH questions, just like the negative, the verb goes back to the present tense. Where did you go last holiday? So, of course, when you want to answer, you use the past simple. So you say, I went to. I went to Italy, etc. What did you have for lunch? So when you answer, you use the past simple and you say, I had. I had a taco, for example. Now, these are some common time expressions that we usually use with the past simple. We have ago, and we can use this in the beginning or at the end. 3 days ago, I went on a picnic. I went on a picnic 3 days ago. Yesterday, yesterday I slept early. I slept early yesterday. Both of them are correct. In 1998, he was born. He was born in 1998. Last, and it can come with any noun. Last week, last month, last night, last holiday, last birthday, etc. Last week, I went home early. I went home early last week. And this is it. That's why we call it the past simple. We will answer some exercises for the past simple and the past continuance later. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in another lesson.